Kitco Mining's special coverage of the Rules Symposium, Natural Resource Investing, is brought to you by G Mining Ventures.
Hello and welcome to Kitco Mining with me, Paul Harris, at the Rules Symposium in Boca Raton in Florida. Peter Grosskopf, former head of Sprott, has a new gig as the head of SCP Resources. Peter, welcome to Kitco.
Thanks, and delighted to be here.
Good to have you. You recently started at SCP Resource Finance after leasing Sprott. Tell us a little bit about that. What's the background for SCP and why was it founded?
Sure. I think it was a smart deal for both sides. Sprott had grown quite large in the ETF business globally, wanted to focus on that. It's more of a marketing business, more international. SCP is an interesting business. It's a growing business, but it needed more investment, and it's a broker-dealer, so it's in a slightly different line of business. And the opportunity came up to privatize it, to roll it out in a spin-out, and we jumped at that. It's a good opportunity for us.
Okay, so as a broker-dealer, the main drive of the business is raising money and financing companies.
Yeah, it's strategic advice. It's assisting companies in underwriting and getting their capital needs met, and also on occasion debt advisory. So it has license in Canada and the UK to act as a broker-dealer, and it also covers Australia. It's quite a global business.
The last sort of 10, 15, 20 years have seen a decline in the number of brokers servicing the junior mining space. Is that created an opportunity for you?
I think so. There's certainly a lack of specialization, and brokers will come in and out of the sector, but that's not really the right way to handle it. We think that you need to be there in the dark days as well. And look, it's a bigger sector than it was 20 years ago. So we have quite a good growth profile, I think, in SCP.
Okay. The precious metals have had a tough year. The GDX is barely up year to date, while the S&P and the NASDAQ, they've been up much, much more. What's been weighing on the sector?
Well, I think everybody believes that the Fed can successfully raise rates, that we're going to have a soft landing. So as you said, other parts of the economy and other parts of the equity index have been doing much better. So people don't feel compelled to need to own gold right now. And it's weighed on the gold sector.
What do you think it will take to change that so gold does become much more attractive to people? Well,
I always say that gold's kind of a reverse thermometer for people's confidence. So a crack in any other market would, I think, create a rush back into gold. And as well, just the continued focus on debt levels globally, the fact that purchasing power is declining due to inflation. So gold price itself is actually quite healthy and probably due for a rebound, and I think a move through its old highs anytime in the next year.
Okay, given that state of affairs, is this a golden opportunity for investors to get into gold stocks?
Well, I think for sure the equities have divorced quite noticeably from the gold price, and with the pullback that we've seen, especially in the juniors, I mean, they're trading at deeply discounted value levels, so I do think it's an entry timing, a good time to enter now.
Okay, given that a lot of the juniors are, as you say, trading in heavily discounted levels, I think a lot of people were expecting there to be much more M&A, mergers and acquisition activity, but that hasn't really happened. What do you think, why hasn't that materialized?
I think all the ingredients are in place for a robust consolidation of the industry. Deals take a long time. A lot of deals fall apart based on technicalities and personalities, but I would contrast your thoughts that the activity is low. I think it's quite robust, and it's going to be rising.
Okay. You don't just invest in gold, you're also exposed to sort of critical minerals, critical metals. Where are you making investments? What are the opportunities that you see, and which commodities, which regions?
Well, it's really a whole new industry, right? And the amount of capital and the amount of projects that are out there is just staggering. The amount of activity that needs to happen to deliver on what's required. Where we focused is, I mean, we have a team that knows the technicalities of the upstream assets, and occasionally we find one that's truly spectacular, but we're focused on the downstream. It's a complicated business from a downstream perspective, so processing, marketing, customers are really important, and we're doing a lot of work to figure out which projects can actually deliver to the customer.
Okay, Peter, you've got a sort of team of experts to do that level of due diligence. As you say, it's not just the deposit, it's the marketing, it's the processing, it's the customer. That's much more of a fundamental aspect than it is in the precious metal space.
Absolutely.
Now, we're at the Rural Symposium here. It's a retail investor conference. It's a tough element for retail investors to crack and get their heads around. So what is your advice to retail investors when considering investing in critical metals opportunities?
Well, it's probably the same advice that I always have, which is it's better to rely on an expert. So whether you get that expertise from a specialized broker or you get that expertise from a fund manager that knows the sector really well, it's best to trust your allocation to professionals that really know. And if you're doing your own homework, many people do like to do their own homework these days, you just have to be very careful, do a lot of research, do a lot of reading. There's a lot of independent analysis out there, so if you're gonna do the work, make sure you do good work.
Okay. Now, SCP, as we mentioned, is a relatively new company. What are the goals over the next 12 to 18 months? How would you like to see SCP grow?
Well, it is going to grow. We're investing right now in distribution, which for us means more client representatives, both to handle institutions and to handle high net worth and retail investors. We do think that there's capital coming into the sector, and a lot of other financial players are kind of ignoring it right now. So we're getting a lot of applications. We think it's a good time to build our sales force and our private client force, so that's what we'll be concentrating on.
I participated in a session yesterday in which you were speaking, and you said something that really struck me. You said that you've got your technical team, but you also hire technical people as your salespeople.
Yes, we do.
Because you want them to really understand the stories they're reaching out to your clients. Or why is that such an important factor?
Well, you know, sales and client coverage in this sector is dynamic. These stories change sometimes weekly. And it's nice for a salesperson or a private client rep to be able to digest the data, to know immediately what the impact is on their clients or the company that they're handling, and just be able to give sound advice to those clients. So to have a technical skill set in the background really helps.
Peter, I wish you the best of success with SCP. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And stay tuned to Kitco Mining for more from the Rural Symposium in Boca Raton, Florida.
Kitco Mining's special coverage of the Rural Symposium, Natural Resource Investing, is brought to you by G Mining Ventures.